Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Not Content Podcast. My name is Jerome Cuson, as always, joined by my good friend Brian. Please leave a 4 or 5 star review to let people know about this show and the great work that we are doing here at our podcasting network. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. Click the bell icon so that people or so that you can get the notifications. And this month, because it's the month of December and it's Christmas time. Undoubtedly, other holidays are celebrated, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all that good stuff, but we're going to be focusing on Christmas like we always do. And this month, we're going to be doing something a little bit different in that we are going to be thinking about some new movies that we might want to add to the canon. Every year, you watch the same old stuff, and some of it is good, and some of it maybe is not so good. You got your Elf 24-hour marathons, you got your Christmas vacations, you got your Home Alones, you got your Santa Claus trilogy that airs on Freeform just about every day during the month of December. But we're going to try to break up the monotony a little bit by offering up some suggestions. And then on our YouTube channel, we will be doing some exclusives in that we will be discussing some not quite canon candidates and maybe talking about some things that are not so great. Spoiler alert for this week. But here tonight, we are going to be discussing Klaus or Klaus. I'm not sure how we should be officially pronouncing it, but this is a movie that came out 5 or 6 years ago at this point, and it is notable for being a Netflix animated release. And this is a movie that, because it's on Netflix, even though everybody has Netflix, feels like this is very underrated and doesn't probably get the credit that it deserves because this Brian, I would compare this like this movie is for Santa Claus what Batman Begins is for Batman. Would you say that is a good comparison?
Good comparison if you want to take that origin story. I guess Santa has multiple origin stories, right? So it's one
Right.
variation of the origin story. Because you kind of get confused a little bit in terms of the structure of the script and how this relates to a Santa Claus. Then everything kind of clicks by the end of it. Spoiler alert: Klaus becomes Santa Claus. I guess he does that thing where he takes one step into immortality, as Monsoon would say, right? And he literally becomes immortal at the end. Yeah, that's the vibe I was getting. I was just
Right.
picturing
The ending is a little weird.
Monsoon.
I'm not sure the ending totally works, but I think everything up until the ending works.
Yeah, and what I've noticed too now is like maybe it's not. I know it's not all movies about Santa, but I would say what 70% about of the movies that are about Santa Claus is never the main character, is he? It's usually like the Santa Claus he's the main character, or maybe Santa Claus the movie. But even then, I think Dudley Moore. I think is the star of like a Santa Claus
I
movie as well,
I
even
I
though he's
was
not Santa
just I
Claus.
was going to make that argument as well. Yes, absolutely. We don't see Santa Claus for the first 30 minutes of this movie. This movie is very much about Jason Schwartzman, Jasper character.
And again, it's kind of going back to only angels have wings, right? That feeling of like we got to have a postman in a town. You have to get him in there, and it's rural and it's hard to get to. And this is kind of like the beginning stages of the postal service, right? So I like that vibe to it because it felt like that movie we watched with Cary Grant. It's that same vibe of like do or die. Like you're going to this area at the corner of the earth and you're going to be there for a year. See ya. You know what I'm saying? Like, God forbid something happens, but it's an adventure, right? And that's kind of what the postal service was back in the day in terms of expanding territory. So you can kind of see how that relates to the idea of Christmas and that expanding the postal service along with all these children's letters allows the expansion to take place. See the connection, folks? So I like that aspect to it. It's just I wanted more Santa. Obviously, I think it just takes a while to get there. But again, like some other movies have done this before, where it's like even J.K. Simmons again as Santa Claus in Red One. I guess he's not even the main character in a Santa Claus movie. So again, this trope,
This movie
this
is
idea,
significantly better, however. I will point that
yes,
out.
that's for sure. Yes, but this trope, this idea that we can't have a Santa movie where he's the main character, right? It's just we can't do it. Even
I
though
think it's
like
really
it's been
hard.
successful.
I think that's part of the challenge is that it is very hard to have a movie that is meant to be about Santa and have him be the main character. I just think
Well, I guess the
that
Santa Claus is the only one that kind of figured it out, obviously,
I
because
mean, but that's a little bit. That's a
but
little
they
bit
added like
different
the
because
fantastical element with the fat growing and all that stuff, and I get that.
I
In
mean,
this
it's
case,
also
it's
different
just
because you have somebody growing into the Santa role like that. That's
right, and in this
that's the
case,
big
it's
difference.
just
Like
he's
he's
like
a person
yeah. In this case, he's a
before he was
dude,
Santa.
and he's old, but he's been there, and it's a tragic backstory, and it's like, oh, they're pulling at your heartstrings. Spoiler alert, folks: his wife could not have kids, or maybe he was impotent. I don't know.
Right. They almost went full up in this movie. That's for sure.
See, if they would have done that at the beginning, I think it would have been a better beginning, right? Like if they
You
showed
see,
that.
I think this movie has different aspirations. And look, Up is only 9 years old at this point. If you do that, then you're really like making it really obvious that you're copying Up, and I just don't think that works. I think
See, I
you're
think I
kind of
would
giving
have
up.
been more forgivable because it's Santa. It's like, oh shit, this is Santa. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little bit more emotional connection to that. But I would have loved to see
I mean, to
because
me,
they kind of show it.
I mean, I think you're trying to tell the story of this rich guy who is he's a nepo baby and he sucks, and you're trying to tell the story of how he learns to not suck, and Santa's part of that journey, and I think the emphasis is put on the on that character, and I think you could debate whether he's in the movie too much or Santa should have a bigger role, but that's clearly the story they're trying to tell, and the animation style purposefully is it looks like some of the mid 90s, late 90s Disney movies, post Renaissance. We're talking your Hunchback of Notre Dame's, your Tarzans. And that's because the production company, the animation company behind those movies, behind some of those later Disney Renaissance movies, also a lot of those same people had something to do with this movie. So that's why this probably has a similar feel to Hunchback of Notre Dame. And I would argue not only does it have the same look, but I think the tone is also meant to be very similar.
I was thinking it's the same universe as Hunchback of Notre Dame, to be honest, because it's those like those
I mean, I'm
strokes
not going to
with
get
the.
into that argument, but
Yeah,
it's
I know, but
certainly,
look at the pencil strokes, right? It just seems so like '96 Disney, right? But also, what I noticed too with this plot, it's very Don Bluth. Like it's very much a Don Bluth type story, where it's like we're not going to just do kid stuff. We're going to tell you adult types themes as well,
I
and you're
mean,
not
there's
going
no
to get
music
it.
in this movie. I think that's notable. The fact that they don't have any songs in this, I think
I thought it was
it
weird that they had
shows.
some like weird pop music choices that were kind of like out
Right.
of left field.
That feels like a Netflix thing. Like that feels like a studio thing. It's like, well, we have to connect this to the modern world in some way. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if
Right.
that's true or not, but
But it definitely had that Don Bluth feel, especially that ending where it's like it wasn't a typical Disney like face off, right? It was just kind of like a lesson learned. And that's very much a Don Bluth thing, right? Like Land Before Time, what else? All Dogs Go to Heaven, all that stuff. Like that just feels like, a lesson learned more so than like the big fantasy element to it. So I thought that was an interesting twist, especially with like Santa literally dying on screen and transcending into like I don't know, heaven like the Undertaker did or Hogan did in WrestleMania 6. You know what I'm saying? It's just that was like, wow,
yeah,
like they did it. And
I
it
don't
was
know if
like,
that's true or not.
but like, as a kid, like I don't think a 6-year-old would understand what they just watched at that moment. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, this is
that's
probably a movie
definitely an
that
adult
works better for
theme
for older kids, I would say.
for
Um,
sure. Yeah.
so I definitely think there's a really solid argument to be made there. But I think for me, like what makes this movie work so well is that it really does take its time to tell the story. Like this is not a movie that is spoon feeding you, and I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the fact that they are trying to tell a complicated story, and the Christmas connections are not immediately clear, but you definitely get into it, and you realize the role that Christmas eventually plays in the movie. Like this is not a movie. Like there's always the debate about like what is a Christmas movie versus what isn't a Christmas movie. Like to me, what makes this unique is that this is not about the celebration of Christmas as a holiday, but it's about Christmas being a means to an end for the plot. And I think that's unique. I don't think you necessarily get that in a lot of movies. Like this, the idea of celebrating Christmas isn't the point of including Christmas in the movie.
Yeah. And for some folks that don't know, I guess here's a little education point for you. Uh, Santa does not predate Christmas. Does that make sense? Christmas was always a Christian holiday, and around what the
Correct.
19th century is that when Santa kind of got introduced into this pop culture
I mean,
idealistic view,
I think Coca Cola in some ways
and Coca
brought
Cola
Santa
as
to the
well. Yeah,
forefront. I mean, like Santa Claus is based on Saint Nicholas, who is a saint. He was a real
From like
person.
the 4th century or something, right? Like
Right.
even the
So
going far that
he's
back.
real. Like, and if you went to Catholic school, which I don't think you did, like you definitely learned about Saint Nicholas. And if you know anything about Christmas, the season, there is a Saint Nicholas Day, and that always falls on December the 8th. So there is definitely definitely a thing that predates a lot of this. Obviously, this is meant. I'm sorry, it's December 6th. It's December 6th, but I think what makes this so unique is the fact that you are kind of reinterpreting the story. You're bringing it to the 19th century, which I think, I think because of Christmas Carol and things like that, like it just is very easy to associate Santa with that time period.
Yeah, and I like the way they kind of incorporated that. I thought that was a unique storytelling element to it. So overall, I'm very positive on the movie. I love the look. There is that lack of music, but they kind of like subtly add Christmas songs by the end, right? Because that was kind of the intention, is like let's scale it back and then fully reveal like, oh, it's becoming the Christmas holiday that we all know. So I like that little reveal because everyone's singing Christmas carols by the end. So that was really cool. And I like the twist where like Santa like had a fake bag of gifts. I thought that was very smart. And then like killing them with kindness, right? Because
Right.
the whole idea is the town is like they all are all enemies. Like it's almost like Hatfields and McCoys, right? What's the Romeo and Juliet family names? The Capulets or something like that. It's very
Yeah.
much that. It's all family, like dynasties and histories clashing and crossing over, and they want to keep it that way, where everyone's an enemy to each
I
other,
mean, they're all
and it's just
fascists and they don't want the
ridiculous.
children to be happy, which I have to tell you,
Yeah, I thought
feels
the most
a
radical
little
thing
also
was like,
familiar. Right.
yeah, the most radical thing in this movie is definitely when Joan Cusack's character cuts the bag, and all those, like, I know that it seems at the time you think they're presents, so it kind of hurts. It's like, damn, dude, like all those presents just fell into them off a mountainside. It's like, wow. But then luckily were fake presents, folks, so it didn't hurt as bad. But man, just seeing that visual,
It's pretty that's pretty ingenious. Like I really like that twist. Like that's one of my favorite parts of the movie is that it is intelligent enough to be like, yeah, it doesn't like Jasper really helps, but like ultimately, like even if Jasper doesn't show up, like they planned ahead, and I really like that about this movie. Like I think that part really works out, and I think the voiceover work in this movie is really good. This is Norm Macdonald's final role in film, and I think he does a really good job. Like I'm not used to saying that Norm Macdonald's a really good actor or voiceover performer, but I think that he really kind of grounds the movie in the early going. And Jason Schwartzman as Jasper is kind of a dick, and I love the way that Norm Macdonald just responds to him and treats him like it's like obviously it's sad knowing that it's his last movie role and like the impact that he's had on comedy, but like to have him in something like this is just very unique and different.
I mean, who would have thunk it, right? In a Christmas type story like this, Norm Macdonald. So I mean, it's clearly like he's treating it like an SNL skit, and he's got that like timing with the delivery, right?
Right. He's almost in a different movie, but I think it works.
But
I
it
think it
works well
actually
because at this point, like I've seen like I think all of Mike Tyson's Mysteries, all 3 or 4 seasons or whatever, and he plays the pigeon, and he's like the most vulgar pigeon you've ever heard of, right? Because he's a cursed dude living in a pigeon body. So you could just imagine all the shit he's saying. But then when I'm seeing this, it's like, oh, he's very much scaled down. It's almost like he's still the pigeon character, but like just old school 19th century and like holds back, but he's still like talking trash because that's what he's just basically doing the whole movie. He's just like talking trash in subtle ways to this guy, which is funny, and his delivery, of course, is great. And people kind of forget that. I forget if he was the first or second person to play Death on Family Guy. And he did a good job on that as well. So I think Norm Macdonald doesn't get enough credit as like an animated voice actor, even though he has limited roles in voice acting for animated features. He does a good job every time, and I love him as Pigeon. Like I'll still go back and watch Pigeon compilations of just him insulting people on that show and hanging out and talking with Mike Tyson. So it was good to see Norm Macdonald, or hear him at least in this final role. It's just sad, man, because I miss hearing that guy talk a lot. Like I would love to hear fresh stuff coming out of his mouth now, but
I totally forgot
Unfortunately,
that he was Death, and yeah, he was really good. Adam Carolla is not good as
yeah,
Death, so yeah,
yeah, exactly.
it makes sense. How about Rashida Jones and Jason Schwartzman? I think that they do a. I think they both are also really solid in this. Like Schwartzman's the lead of this movie. Like Jasper is the most important character, and I think he does. I think he does a really good job. Like I think that it's kind of a tough role to play because he is rich and he is a nepo baby, and I think that when you are centering a movie around a character like that, it's been done to death at this point, especially in Christmas movies. That I think you almost have to come from behind, and I think they do a really good job. And I think that like he is able to really build sympathy. And again, being around like J.K. Simmons, this version of Klaus, I think really works out because like Klaus is a very tragic character, and I think he really kind of helps bring Schwartzman's character along. So yeah, I'm very impressed with Jason Schwartzman. Rashida Jones, she doesn't get a lot to do, which sucks. Like I feel like she's in a lot of stuff. Like she's also in The Grinch, and she doesn't get a lot to do. Like she plays almost the exact same role, except replace teacher for mother, and it's basically the same thing.
Well, with Rashida Jones, I feel like there's this joke in the beginning about her leaning towards being a fisherman rather than a teacher because all the kids stopped showing up, right? So I kind of wanted more of like them pressing that kind of like fish type jokes, but they kind of like got rid of it once they started going back to class. And I was like, damn, I kind of wanted her to do like a fish gimmick throughout the whole movie and kind of just, you know what I mean? But
I
they
could
just
see
cut it
that.
halfway.
I could,
They
yeah,
cut
I
it
could.
halfway, man. But because that first part when you see her and you see the classroom just covered in all this dead fish and like Jason
Right.
Schwartzman's character is about to throw up, I thought that's great because of course she needs an alternative job, and then you're in a fishing town, right? So that just made sense to me. And I love that little aspect of it. And then, of course, Jason Schwartzman being the lead throws you off a bit because you're expecting a movie. Again, it's called Klaus. It's not, it's not about It doesn't say Jasper on the title, but we get a movie about Jasper, and it's just really about this guy trying to be accepted, and it's again the nepo baby syndrome. But he's trying to like work out of it, and he actually ends up liking the position he gets up in the far north. So really interesting plot. Again, I just kind of wanted more focus on Santa, but again, in this case, they're trying to tell that different story, and Santa's part of it. But I did like the aspects of him traveling to town. It had like a Grinch type feel with that town, so I like that kind of feel to it as well. And it was just good because it had like a lot of mixed elements. Like I said, Don Bluth, mid '90s Disney mixed with the Grinch movie, or I would say like a mix of the new Grinch movie from 2018. That kind of like that CGI animated vibe.
Which I hate that movie, but that's a whole other conversation. Yeah, I think this is a movie that people should really check out. Like I don't know that it has the pop that so many other Christmas movies do because I think it can be very subtle. But I think this is a movie that, in terms of what it's trying to do, again, I couldn't help but think about Batman Begins when watching this. Just I think they went for a lot of the same emotion, pulled some of the same levers, and just really did a great job of making you believe in this world. Like this is a fictional town. This is there have been a lot of different tales about Santa. The Rankin Bass is probably the most famous one, but like I think they really did a good job. This was a very effective piece of storytelling. And look, I think there are a lot of very trite Christmas specials and movies at this point. Lifetime puts them out every single year. You get your animated ones, and it just feels like this is one that sticks out because they're going for something else. And I think you see that effort. And like I said, I'm not sure that the ending totally works. Like Klaus leaning into mortality, like I don't know that that totally works, but I appreciate the fact that they go.
Yeah, it's a 7 out of 10 for me. I just really enjoyed like the vibe of it, the look more so than the script. But again, it's like that Don Bluth kind of feel that I liked about it. And yeah, I would say this is pretty fun to watch. Um, yeah, I'm just gonna stay positive about it. There's nothing really bad. I would say it's just kind of like a weak structure in terms of like when Santa comes into play.
I mean, I think that this is a movie that definitely would have benefited from like maybe a little bit more comedy. Like maybe it needed a little bit more. lightness to it. Like it is very dark, which I think can have its pluses, but like I think leaning into some comedy
Well, at least
would
they
have
didn't
been
have
helpful.
elves, which I think was a big difference. Like instead of elves, you just had Norwegians, which I thought was kind of funny too, because it was like, where are the elves
I
going to
mean,
come into play?
they had a very elf-like person. The little child was very
Right, the
elf-like,
one
so I think,
person, but then it's just like,
which
oh, they're
was
trying to say
intentional, I
that the
would say.
Norwegians were the ones that helped them and not actual elves, which is, you know, kind of ruins the fun a little bit, but it was a fun explanation, and then who knows, maybe the elves came back when Santa became immortal. So there you go.
For sure. So, yeah, I think it's this is a very very good start to the month. And Brian, I am giving this an 8 out of 10. I think this is an excellent Christmas movie, and I am very very excited to see where we go next because on our YouTube channel we are going to be talking about a very Merry Christmas, which it does not make the canon, and we're also going to be talking about Jason Schwartzman and Rashida Jones. And I had no idea that what I was doing putting these two together. I did not realize that Schwartzman and Rashida Jones were in both, but I guess we could say it's a happy accident.
May the Schwartz be with you, huh? Huh?
I guess so, man. It's pretty dire. Next week we are also let's keep the Santa party going. Brian, what are we going to be doing on our YouTube channel? I know there's a movie that you really want us to talk about. What are we talking about next week?
Rare Exports. I looked it up. It's 2010, I believe. It's on Tubi. It's 90 minutes. And from based on what I'm read, it's a good like horror Christmas movie, and it's one of the last few movies that Roger Ebert even reviewed because he still reviewed this movie when it came out, and he gave it 3.5 out of 4. So I don't know what to expect because all I know is that it's a killer Santa, and I don't know if children are going to die. I definitely know adults are going to die, but are children going to die? That's the question.
And on our canon, we're going to be talking about Violent Night, which is David Harbour. Like David Harbour has obviously been in the news, not for great things, apparently. And we'll be talking about that next week. But also, again, make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel because we are going to be doing YouTube exclusives this entire week and this entire month because we will be
But
discussing.
lest we forget, we got something else to talk about, right? A little bloody Bret Hart action.
Yes, we're doing a double recording, so I completely forgot that we're doing the Bret Hart British Bulldog thing during this show. Brian, thank you for correcting me, and you need to make some
Yes,
edits.
because we both just watched it before we recorded. So uh, let's put things in perspective. Okay, it's the December
It's the
'95 match
30th
between Bret.
anniversary of this match. So the more famous Bret Hart British Bulldog match takes place at SummerSlam 1992, and then this match takes place 3 years later, with the gimmick being that Bret Hart is now the WWF champion. British Bulldog is off a fresh heel turn, and the idea is that Bret Hart has never beaten his brother-in-law. Will he be able to do this for the first time? Diana is firmly in her husband's corner. The British Bulldog, infamously 2 months earlier, was yelled at immediately after that show ended by Vince McMahon after having a horrendous match with Diesel.
Which is not his fault, because come on, man, that's like oil and water. It was never going to work that match, but whatever, man. Vince was trying because he wanted to push Diesel. So again, he gives him another shot, right? But if you notice the pattern for the next 3 champions, it's like the first challenger is the Bulldog, or one of the first challengers is going to be the Bulldog.
It's pretty
Diesel,
crazy that he
Brett,
did
and
not.
Shawn.
Yep. I mean, Brian, do you realize who Bob Backlund's only successful title match was against?
I'm not sure because I just found out that 1, 2, 3 Kid and Marty Jannetty had a recorded title defense in that 6 day span. So I'm shocked they even recorded something for Backlund.
Bob Backlund beat the British Bulldog. Do you realize in the Undertaker's first WWF title reign, his only successful full title defense was against who?
My God, the Bulldog. Ah,
It's
man.
crazy. It's crazy, isn't it?
He's like he's like the first choice for a good like. Oh, we got a new champion. Let's put him against the Bulldog, right? Because they'll get a good match out of him.
That's very much what it feels like.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and in this case, of course, they're playing off the SummerSlam match. Now it's in Philadelphia. Earlier in the night, we got a heel turn from Santa Claus because $1 Million Man bought him out, became Santa Claus, which is now known as Balls Mahoney under the mask or
Just
under
the
the
fucking
beard, I should say,
worst.
right? So the crowd is very much like already feels like it's turning on the show, right? Because it's ECW crowd. They want their action, their vengeance. They just had a hog pen match, right? And you know how well that would go over in Philadelphia, right? So I
Yeah.
uh so what do you think Brett bladed on accident or did he blade on purpose? Because that was pretty like intense. I don't know if it was real because it didn't look like he like bladed. It looked like he
No,
literally
he
cut.
absolutely bladed Brian. I mean, I think he writes about this in his book.
Okay,
He
because we know he
absolutely bladed.
bladed at WrestleMania 8. That's
Because
for
the thing
sure.
is, like, he is able to blade without making it like look like he bladed, and that's what makes him great.
And
Like
also where he landed in the steps, it looked like he hit his head on that opening part, which is
right.
where I thought
And I think
happened.
that's intentional. Like that is intentional.
Yeah, that's part of it. And then, but they never do a close up, and McMahon is like, "Don't close up, no close ups, we'll go wide." And you can tell McMahon is like freaking out on commentary, not like out loud, but like inside because he knows, like, fucking Brett, man, why did you do that? You know what I mean? Like, because he's done it before, and it's just like he hadn't done it in years, and it's like he didn't expect it
But if you remember the WrestleMania 8 story, Ric Flair got fined pretty heavily for blading, but Bret Hart didn't
because he couldn't come up with an
because
excuse. Brett came up with a perfect excuse. Yeah, Piper just fucking, you know, hit me in the eye, legit, and he got away with it. So things you can get away with, but Bret Hart knew how to get good away with like a good blade job for sure, and just not get fined.
that's why he's great.
Yeah, I wish they would have had a close up because Jerry Lawler's on commentary going, get a close up," and Van's like, "No, no, no, go wide," and I was just like, "Oh man." But I think it's because Brett knew that this is Philadelphia, right? And of course, the hostile
Yes,
crowd.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think he was just feeling it that he needed something. And then once that happened, like the intensity turns up because after that, Bulldog does a fucking power slam on the floor, which is so brutal. Like to this day, I found it so brutal to watch Brett just get dropped like that. But and they do more stuff on the outside, right? And brawl on the outside, which you don't get in the SummerSlam match. So I like that distinction. And the ending kind of felt abrupt. It felt like they were going for like something else, but then like maybe Davey got gassed and called an audible. But we got a La Maestral cradle from Bret Hart, which no one knew the name
Yeah,
of at the
it's a
time.
clunky ending. Like it's weird. I was expecting. I don't know, man. Like it's really strange. Like I don't
Because we didn't get
necessarily think.
like a sharpshooter spot crawling to the ropes. That's like the one thing this match is missing. But it just felt like it like Bulldog ran out of gas and that was it. So that's my interpretation of it. Because once Brett bleeds, it's like nonstop, right? And it gets so much more dramatic. And like they tease, what's great about this is they tease a superplex spot, but the first time Brett tries it, he gets crotched, right? And then outside they kind of tease a variation of it again, and then Bulldog gets crotched. And finally, when he hits it, it was pretty
Yeah,
epic. So I was like, that was a good build up to that because you rarely get a build up to a superplex spot like that. And Brett, of course, probably had like bruised groin because that spot when he got crushed was epic. I don't care. I don't know what it was. Like Bulldog got crushed on the outside on the railing, and that didn't seem as bad. But when Brett did it, it just looked like he bounced, which is worse. So God bless him, man, because that was harsh. But overall, this match is like 4.25, maybe 4.5 out of 5.
this is like an. I mean, this takes place. This is in Hershey, Pennsylvania. This definitely had a little bit of ECW Attitude Era vibes. Like they were definitely going for something. This was a lot more intense than your typical 1995 WWF main event.
And I think McMahon on commentary being shocked kind of added a little bit to it because you can tell like not expecting it and having to call like a bloodbath for McMahon is like so unique because he doesn't want that, right? He clearly doesn't want that, and he's got to call it. And then of course Lawler just egging him on, being Lawler, because Lawler of course is just going to antagonize him for it, right? He's like, get a close up, McMahon.
Vincent Lawler is no bueno. I mean, it's bad, man. It's.
I mean, look, I've watched enough superstars to just kind of sit back and just laugh at some stuff, but it gets bad at times. But it's just when they're doing comedy,
I
they
mean,
doesn't connect.
the commentary is just. It's death, man. It is absolute death. Until Jim Ross becomes a permanent member, it's just bad. Like flat out. And look, when you're a kid, I don't think you realize how bad it is, but like, boy, did I realize how. Watching this in
Yeah,
2025, the commentary is just really bad.
yeah, which is why Joey Styles is probably like laughing at them at this point, in which he's giving Joey like all this ego at this point. You can kind of tell Joey's ego grows as a commentator around this time because everyone's so bad, right? Like it just feels that way, right? Because now it's like, oh, ECW is like our guy's way better, and he's like embracing it. So that's why, like, I think Joey Styles took around this era, elevated himself based on this shitty commentary, especially when you get
I mean,
Nitro and Eric Bischoff.
1995, like Bret Hart was the champion at this point, but 1995 was the year of Diesel and the Dungeon of Doom, and those are generally regarded as two of the worst storylines in wrestling. And obviously, things were pretty bad. I mean, things were very bad in 1995 coming off the steroid trials, and you're just like, this is when I became a fan. So it's really like, this is like oddly nostalgic, but clearly like there are a lot of problems. And the fact that this show is in Hershey fucking Pennsylvania. And what do you see as Bret Hart is coming down the aisle, Brian?
What? I missed that part. Was it Santa or something? Or Santa getting hung or something?
It's a hog pen because they had a hog pen match this
Oh,
night.
okay. That yeah, I mentioned that earlier because yeah, that's exactly what you needed for Philadelphia. A hog pen match while ECW was doing like death matches and crazy shit like that, like that
Yeah,
was to me
and
like it's like eye opening when you think about that
it's
aspect
a
of
pretty
it,
great
right?
contrast. It is pretty great.
Like you do
Um,
that in like Connecticut, not Philadelphia, or like the South
well, they're in
even.
Hershey. They're in Hershey. They're not in Philadelphia.
Still, it's close enough where you got that ECW contingent in the front row, where you kind of
Right,
see some of
which
those
is
familiar
which
faces
is a which is kind of a problem.
for sure. But overall, this match is a classic. It's definitely like a Christmas type match too, not just because a lot of red, but they mentioned
It's I think this match is very underrated because I mean obviously Bulldog and Brett, like their wrestle, like the SummerSlam '92 match is clearly iconic. It is well deserved. It's well earned. But like like this is a match that if it wasn't for the SummerSlam match, I think this match would probably get a lot more credit. Also, it's on an in your house show too. That doesn't help. The fact that this exists in this space as opposed to one of the big four pay-per-views, I don't think that helps.
I think that's where they saw Bulldog as like that in your house main event kind of guy, and that's why he had
I
the two
mean,
title shots on
his Diesel
in your
matches in your
house,
house, the Shawn Michaels,
the
the
Shawn
first
Michaels
one,
one, and then
was
the
it in
King of
your
the Ring.
house?
King of the Ring was not like the main event of the show, obviously. Like there were other draws to that show, so I can kind of see why they put him in that slot. But yeah, that Bulldog was never like
I mean, they
the
literally
main
used King of the
pay
Ring
per view guy.
'96 to help transition to Vader and Steve Austin, so that should
Yeah,
tell you a lot.
exactly. Yeah, and Diana, poor Diana, through all this, I felt
Oh,
bad. But
Brian. Oh my God. Diana is certainly not an innocent victim in any of this.
still got to feel
Look,
bad
she
a
is a
little
victim.
bit.
To be clear, she is a victim.
Well,
If you,
especially one night in Manchester, right, with Shawn Michaels. Oh boy, that's a
I
whole
mean,
other.
look, she is clearly a victim, but her book is something else. It is a wild ride. If you've ever had a chance to read it, it's it's a great work of fiction. We'll say that.
Okay, that's all I needed to
But again,
know.
to be clear, like you're not wrong. Like clearly she is a victim in many ways, but she's also a carny worker like all the rest.
Okay, well, there you have it. That's the final word, I guess, on that.
That is the final word on that. Let's see. I think that's about it for this week.
For sure. And next week, what is our movie again?
Violent Night is going to be on the main channel and on YouTube.
Okay, for sure, for sure. So, thank you for listening, and we'll talk again very soon.